I share greetings and goodwill to you all once again, my fellow natural native earthly humans the world over. Yes, you don't know. This is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher, and welcome to part 26, the continuation of my series of talks titled Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Now, if you haven't yet watched part 1 to part 25 of the series, I ask that you please do so before going forward with this episode number 26, or that you please do so at your earliest convenience. By doing so, let me reiterate that by doing so, you may learn something new. You may be reminded of something or about something, or at the very least, you may get something to think about, something to provoke you to think a little differently. And please note that I did not say that by listening to yours truly, I, the Mystic P, you will learn something. But I say that you may learn something. The truth be told, all these talks, my presentations are definitely not for everyone. I am well aware of the possibility, if not the fact, that some of you might be offended by the truth, or more correctly, by the facts therein. But as the late Robert Nesta Marley once said in one of his songs called what? Jah live, and I quote, he said, the truth is an offense, but it's not a sin, unquote. And as the late Dale Carnegie also said, and this again I quote, those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still, unquote. As I said earlier too, you can't teach old dog new tricks, so these are not for everyone. And for the record, I am not a con, and neither am I trying to convert or to convince or even to contradict. I'm not into the con business, the con game. Anyone or about anything. I'm just sharing another perspective. I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, and the way and from my angle of observation, and I'm sharing them on a lot of things. And of course, I'm focusing on the Africa and our people, our highly melanated people. Be free, not freedom, but free. Anyhow, now for those of you that have been listening to some, if not all, of my previous episodes, you will already know that my answer to those two questions, question number 1, can Africa be set free? Question number 2, can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? You don't know that it is a resounding yes. And I have no doubt about such a possibility. However, the purpose of this series, let me remind you that the purpose of this series is to show you from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective and spiritual and intellectual insights, how and when Africa and Burkina Faso, and by extension all African people, all of you my fellow melanated people, home and abroad, can and will be set free from the tyranny, from the clutches of imperialism and colonialism. It was the late Maya Angelou who once said, again I quote, the truth is that no one of us can be free until everybody is free, unquote. Yes, some people think they have arrived and leave all of us behind. No, we are connected. And one can't go without all of us. So we have to try help each other to get free from these isms and schisms, colonialism, imperialism, and all other isms, the family of isms. And that fact, we both know that none of us Africans, none of us highly melanated people, nations or individual, can be free until all of us are indeed free. Now, let me begin this part 26, as promised, by answering the second question that one of you, my listeners, had asked in the last episode 25, and also show and explain to you why I, the Mystic Philosopher, know, and know that I know that religion, as I have defined it, as I have decoded it and explained it earlier, is an alien invader virus to our continent and to our motherland that is commonly called Africa today, originally El Cubiland, and also an alien invader virus. Religion is an alien invader virus to the minds of our most honorable African ancestors, and by extension to our minds as well. Yes, it was an alien invasion to their minds, and that religion was not, and that it is not our most honorable African ancestors' spirituality or their practice, but that religion, is an extremely dangerous and deadly mental disease, a very deadly and contagious mental cancer virus, aka a contagious, malignant cancer of the mind. Yes, religion. And consequently, I will show, explain, and prove to those of you that are not yet its chronic victims why my fellow African people should do like the Chinese, she had mentioned before, did. Clamp down on it. We should clamp down on it, mentally and intellectually immune our children from it, yes, from that disease called religion. And eventually, we must get rid of it. And that get rid of it completely from the planet, and if we don't take control of it and get rid of it from the continent of El Cubiland, commonly called Africa today, and from our people's minds, home and abroad, from our people home and abroad, from their minds, and if we don't get rid of it, religion will not only continue to mentally, intellectually, psychologically, spiritually, physically, economically, and otherwise enslave and oppress us, suffocate and paralyze our growth and development. Not only will it do all of that, but that it will render us completely useless and eventually get rid of us from off the planet, from off our planet and Mother Earth. Now, question 2. This is what question 2 was. I dealt with question 1 in part 25. And question 2 goes like this. And why do you, that was a question to me, why do you call religion a curse and an extremely dangerous and deadly virus that is cast upon us humans by the dark magicians and the dark forces of evil? And to do that, to answer that question, I will again revisit, requote, dissect, then decode, and expound on what the renowned German philosopher, political theorist, economist, journalist, and revolutionary socialist Karl Marx had to say about this deadly virus called religion. First, let's revisit and requote the statement that Karl Marx said about religion. And I quote, "Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of soulless condition. It is the opium of the people," unquote. Second, let me now dissect it into at least 4 parts or 4 sections. His quote, I will dissect it in at least 4 sections. Section number 1. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature. Section number 2. Religion is the heart of a heartless world. Section number 3. Religion is the soul of soulless conditions. And section number 4, religion, is the opium of the people. Now, let me decode and expound on each individual section and the meaning and messages of truths, or more correctly, of facts that are enveloped, encapsulated in each of these sections. First, religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature. Now, the question that I will ask, that you ask and answer yourself, is this: who invented religion? How did it came about? And for what purpose was it invented? Now, if you are a rational, logical, critical, and analytical free thinker, then you, just like myself, you too will no doubt arrive at the most logical and factual conclusion that religion, and by extension all religions, were invented by the oppressors of the oppressed. And to this day, religions like imperialism and colonialism are modified and maintained by the oppressors of the oppressed creatures or the oppressed people, under the inspiration and direction of their oppressed God or gods. And for your information, the evidence shows that the Adamic race of humankind, aka the imperialist and colonialist race of humankind, oppressed. The evidence shows that they're oppressed. They have and are still oppressing their own Adamic race of people. Their own Adamic race, also called their also known as their citizens as well. In fact, they practice oppressing their own citizens, their own people, before venturing out into the world to oppress other peoples. And who are the oppressors of the oppressed people? They are the imperialists, the colonialists, the elites, aka the aristocrats, the bourgeoisie, the political class, the leaders and kings, the people with the craftiness, the people with the power and authority of the land. They invented religion or religions by claiming divine communication with their God, the supernatural, and to have received divine the revelations from their God, and thus they having the divine right to rule over their inferiors, aka their citizens, their ignobles, their subjects. So when the creatures, or when the people are oppressed to the point of sighing, you know, when you sigh under pressure, crying out and mourning, then steps in who? The oppressors appointed, trained, and sanctioned religious cons, aka religious leaders. Example, their bishops, their priests, their pastors, their gurus, their imams, etc., to come and do what? Preach to them. Preach to the people, to teach them patience, to teach them obedience, to teach them how and why they should suffer and sacrifice their everything, including their own lives, when they send them to war. For their God, their king, and their queen, or their country, or for their political leaders. Yes, the evidence shows that when the creatures, or when the people are oppressed to the point of sighing, crying out, and mourning, then steps in the oppressors appointed, trained, and sanctioned religious cons, aka religious leaders, to teach them loyalty, teach them patriotism, good citizenry, to teach them thanksgiving and long suffering, and to teach and give them hope for better days to come way into the future and even beyond this life. Simply put, when the oppressed sigh because of the pressure of injustice and the wickedness of the oppressors, the cunning oppressors send the religious leaders, teachers, prophets, and preachers to come and pacify the oppressed creatures and people by telling them that it is their God's will for them to suffer, and sell them false religious hope and promises for a better life into the future, or a better life into the future, or in the life thereafter, etc., etc. You don't know the things said. Now, I ran out of time, and I have only dealt with part of the 5 part. I've only dealt with part 1 of 5 of Karl Marx's quote on religion. Namely, religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of the heartless world, and the soul of soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. And I still have a lot more to say on this. So I'll pick up back on this point in the next episode 27, and show and explain to you why I know that religion is very dangerous. It's very dangerous for my African people, for us highly melanated people. It's not for us. Let it stay where it belongs. So please join me in part 27 for the continuation of Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? Not just get freedom, a little limitation under the dome, but set free. In the meantime and between time, here's willing, not wishing, but willing that you, my listeners, who are in the know, be more and more and much, much more, and definitely not be less. Again, I strongly suggest that you let no one be less you. Be more and much, much more, for I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I say thanks for listening. Stay tuned and share.